I'm not going to waste your time. So here are the 5 essential skills if you want to be better than your peers or even just at least catch up to them. So let me give you a quick backstory, as this is based off of my own experience. So picture this, 15-year-old Nolan. I'm about to be 19, by the way, but it's around this time of the year. I'm 15 years old. I'm in grade 10. And school's going horrible. School's going horrible. I'm failing test after test. I'm in science, I'm getting 30s. I'm in math, I'm getting 30s. Right, I have to sit down and get additional help from the teachers to actually do these things. I'm going to sports teams. I can't even make the sports teams. Right, they're cutting me because I'm not good enough. Right, I'm not getting any court time because I'm not good enough. So it'd be pretty fair to say, okay, Nolan, why don't you drop out? And it was a consideration. I hated it. I was crying home on the bus. It sucked. Right? I had nowhere to go where I actually felt welcome and I actually was successful. And then look at me now. I actually completed that whole program. I had the craziest comeback of all time. I ended up getting like 95s. And it was in this incredibly competitive program. It's called the IB program. If you don't know, don't worry about it. But essentially, it's just this really, really difficult international education-based program. And I wrote like 26 exams in the span of like a month. And ended up getting valedictorian for it. Not because I had the highest grades, but because I had that crazy comeback. And then I ended up even making some of the sports teams. And I might have not done perfect, but I had some fun. And that's what mattered most. All in all, though, it was that failure, right? It was that failure that made it essential. So that way I could succeed in the future. Not necessarily because I failed, but because the choices I made. And think about it. If I have to work twice as hard as the people around me just to catch up, right? That means coming home and studying just the daily lesson so I can actually understand it. By the time I actually start to understand these things, whether it's like the daily lesson or like the drill we learned in the sport class or whatever, right? Or after school sports. By the time I do catch up with them, I'm now churning in twice as many hours, twice as much effort. So that effort doesn't just disappear. I supersede past people. And people come to me and they go, Nolan, how do you know these things, or where did you learn this? And the truth is, I failed. And it was for the reasons of which you're going to learn in this video that made it possible for me to succeed. So let's just learn quickly. Why is it that we fail, right? Because it's not like we just fall behind out of no reason. There's a reason why we fail. And the 3 things that result in us learning through failure is, simply put, we didn't get enough discipline, we didn't learn how to focus, and we didn't learn how to control ourselves. And these might sound like crazy things we need to learn, but that's like JK level stuff. That's like 6-year-old level skills right there. So when you're in an environment where you're like 10, 12, 13, 15, etc., when you don't learn these base level child skills, you're not going to be as successful as when you become a teenager throughout school, or even older as an adult going into your 20s. So you need to learn these 3 essential things, which is just having discipline, right? Doing the homework. Right? You can't just not do homework. You need to do homework just to stay with the program, right? You need to learn how to focus, actually locking in class and taking notes. And then you need to learn like self-control and then self-correction. So analyzing where you are, how far you are from the standard, the median, where people averagely are, and then how can you push beyond it even further. That's it. That's all you needed to learn. But it was as a result of not learning those skills, right? For me, I was like a litter. I couldn't read. I couldn't write. I was struggling. I would just talk with my friends. I never focused on school. I was doing horrible. I never even cared, never thought about it. So I was missing all 3 of those skills, and I was smacked in the face for that. That's why the smartest kids around you, or the kids who do really good, aren't just these superhumans. They're just people who have self-control and they do the right things. And that usually comes from their parents. My parents, they helped me a lot, but they weren't really in it with me. Nevertheless, I know why you're here, and it's just to get these 5 skills. These 5 things that are necessary to just avoid this problem entirely, or if you're in this problem, if you're in this little trench right now where you're doing really poorly in, albeit school or sports or whatever it is. Here's skill number 1 to start us off. Learn faster than everyone else. Simply put, you need to learn how to learn faster. That doesn't mean rushing things, but it means building your mind up so you can interpret and collect information quicker so you can use your time more wisely. Because studying an extra couple hours does help. But if you don't even remember any of that information, it's no good for you. So choose one topic you want to improve at a time. Maybe you're really compassionate about history, or you have this huge passion for math, whatever it is. Focus in on that. That doesn't mean you can't gradually get better at everything else, but the point is not doing better in that topic, it's learning the skill. So what you're going to do is you're going to spend 10 minutes every day consuming only the best information about it. Maybe that's one high quality video related to what you're learning about. Maybe that's one article or one study related to this thing you want to focus on, right? Maybe you're learning about a sport. You want to learn from the best, right? You're going to do 1 page of notes. Then you're going to apply it, right? Instantly. Apply it instantly. So within, like, after learning for 10 minutes, you're going to do 5 minutes of studying, 5 minutes of practicing, 5 minutes of practicing that sports drill, whatever it is. The point is you want to learn something and then apply it right away. What this teaches our brain is it teaches us that not only we can pick up information quickly, but once we pick up, good high quality information, we're going to use it. And this builds up the habit of us taking in information and immediately using it, rather than you like watching this video and then forgetting about it because you didn't actually implement the information. So that's skill number one. Learn to learn faster. The point is, though, you're not going to go to your math class or your volleyball sports team and then instantly get better. The point is you're learning how to learn faster. So this gradually will increase all your grades or all of your effectiveness in whatever area of life you're focusing on, because it gets us to act, right? Which makes up for the lack of discipline. Now you're learning it and you find a bit of appreciation for it, because all of a sudden this thing you're struggling with, now it clicks, now you understand. Secondly, you need to learn to build momentum on command. So if you didn't learn the first skill, this one won't really matter as much. But first of all, you learned how to learn and do. Now you're building momentum. That's doing repetitively, even if you're not learning much. That's like writing the first question of the homework, and then now you really want to do the rest of the paper. So you need like a 2-minute start. Once you're doing something for 2 minutes, you're going to want to finish it. Like cleaning your room, right? You put a couple things away, a couple toys away, a couple just nonsensical items away, you throw some trash out. Now you want to clean the whole damn thing. So you really want to focus in on the first 2 minutes, right? Start for 2 minutes. If it sucks, who cares? You're going to finish it. If it's horrible, maybe do it another time. But the point is, these 2 minutes will allow you to recognize if you build momentum. So if you feel like after 2 minutes you want to keep on going, keep on going. That applies to everything in life. So focus in, like maybe go to the gym and start focusing on going to the gym to train a muscle group or doing better in class. You need to learn how to build momentum, and that comes with 2 minutes of just doing something and learning to love it, right? Because momentum always kicks in. It's not something that is random. It always kicks in once you find appreciation and value in doing those things. And that works in tandem with the next skill, solving problems without panic. You need to learn how to solve problems without freaking out. Right? This is why people fail in tests, because they're losing their minds. They're so focused on their ability to focus that they're actually not even caring about the questions that are being presented to them. So you need to pause and you need to reflect, right? Pause, assess the situation, and adjust accordingly. So that means, let's say you're presented with a test or you're worried about learning a skill in sports. You need to stop for a moment and just recognize, where am I? What am I doing, right? Now you're assessing, you're reflecting. What am I doing in accordance to everyone else? Where am I based? What are they doing that I'm not doing? That's why I love comparing myself to others. Not in like a very negative way, but to say, here, look, I'm hanging out with like 5 Einsteins right now. What are they doing that I'm not? I'm hanging out with like 5 millionaires. What are they doing that I'm not? What do I have to do to be like them? How can I be better? Right? And then you adjust. Right now I know what I need to do. Maybe it's putting a bit more time in the gym, a bit more time in on the court practicing with my volleyball skills or basketball skills or whatever sport you're playing. Maybe it's studying a bit more. Maybe it's going on that online lesson and just doing the lesson again. Maybe it's getting a piece of paper and just writing whatever I learned on the piece of paper and then taking that paper to class and just writing notes on it. Even if they look horrible, I just got to get it in. Got to apply it. That's skill number one. Got to apply what I'm learning. The point is, though, you're stopping, you're thinking, and then you're doing. So you need to learn to solve problems without freaking out. Now, it's okay to worry. It's okay to have a bit of panic attacks, right? It's school after all, or whatever you're in. Maybe it's a job crisis you're dealing with. It's okay to panic, but it's not okay to not do anything from after that panic. After all, you're struggling, but it's not the struggle that works you. It's what you're doing in the midst of the struggle. So if you're going to panic, how can you pause, assess, and adjust accordingly? Skill number 4, build a strong environment. You need to learn how to build your environments. If your bed is insanely comfy, you're probably going to want to lay in it all day. If you have your phone with you, you're probably going to lust when you go to the bathroom. If you have notes around with you, you're probably going to study. If you have healthy food in the fridge, you're probably not going to snack. So whatever it is that is in your life, anything, right? Like this applies to really anything, because no matter where we go, there's an environment that follows us. You need to make your environment safe for learning. That doesn't mean you can't force yourself to study in any environment, but it means that your environment is going to slowly whittle you down. If you don't have your laptop with you, like I have right here with a couple notes I want to address, it's going to be a lot harder to learn. I had to set up this environment downstairs in the basement that helps me record. All I have is like an ironing table and a World War II tank casing to hold my phone up. I'm not even joking, and I'm sitting on a crappy bench with a pillow on it. But because I leave this down here, the environment is a lot more lenient towards me actually learning and recording videos, because I don't need to set it up every day. It's already there for me. So you need to learn how to make hard things harder and easy things easier, right? But what is it that we want to be easy? We want school to be easy. We want sports to be easy. We want jobs to be easy. So make doing the good work easier, right? Focus on doing it, but make the work we don't want to do, the hard work, that's lusting, or that's overeating, or that's not studying, or that's scrolling on your phone, make that harder. So make the work we don't want to do harder by changing our environment, and make the work we really want to do easier by changing our environment. So maybe that's in your bedroom, cleaning your desk, or making visible goals by putting sticky notes up. You don't even have to follow them, but as long as you have the environment there, you're going to feel more engaged, right? And having minimal distractions. Maybe it's our inputs. So unfollow noise, right? People you look at Instagram. I've unfollowed all sorts of people on Instagram because I don't want more noise, right? Especially if you're interested in relationships. You don't want to have a bunch of women you're following online to, distract you from actually caring about your partner. So it's the same thing about school or sports or jobs or environments or whatever you're doing. So you got to follow people who you actually care for, right? Maybe if you want to be good at bodybuilding, you want to build a bigger body, right? This also applies to the gym. You see you're in the gym, you see you're skinny or you're fat, and you want to catch up to everyone. A good gym progress, comparison is always one of the coolest things ever because there's no denying progress. That's one of the few things in life you can't deny, which is gym progress, because it's to show for everyone. But also, you got to consume with intention. Be wise with what you're consuming. Are you scrolling all day for no reason? Or is what you're scrolling biblical advice or relationship advice or work ethic advice, right? What are you intaking? It's not a bad thing to learn, and especially make your day about learning, but what is it that you are learning? And then, of course, our routines. So morning structure, night rest. What are we moving, right? Where are we going towards? When are we still? When are we pausing and reflecting? The point is, though, you're not being autistic and you're not freaking out over your environment and everything that has to do with your environment. The point is, you're just learning a little bit. Maybe that Kleenex box over there is a hindrance to me, or, maybe this messiness over here is a bit of a problem, or, maybe the photos in the back of this video are actually distracting. So just notice a couple of things. It's all about noticing, the big noticing. And then, of course, skill number 5, the final skill. You need to learn to take responsibility for one area at a time. People my age, but people probably your age too, love to do everything at once. It's only natural for humans. We're selfish, so we're like, okay, I can do everything. You can't do everything. You can't. You can't be insanely good at sports and school all together immediately. Yes, you can become that athlete who's also very rigorous in academics. That is possible. I became better at doing that, and at one point, I was doing pretty good. But you can't start that immediately. You can't. So take one thing at a time. It is possible to grow gradually everything, and learning in these 5 steps will help you with gradually learning with everything and getting your whole life together, generally speaking. But if you want to learn to go to the gym, and then you also want to pick up kickboxing, and then you also want to learn languages, and then you also want to read books, and then you also want this and this and this and this and this, you can't do it all at the same time. That doesn't mean you can't do it all, just not starting it immediately. So choose one thing, whether it's your body, your room, your grades, your finances, your routine, your spiritual life, and focus on it now. This doesn't mean you can't build habits around them and do them all at the same time. It just means you can't start them at the same time. Remember, our brains are limited. Because you're scrolling, you can't focus on school. So what makes you think because you're too busy focusing on the gym, you also can't do school? So you need to build habits. That means maybe for 10 days, you're going to focus in on building studying habits, and then you're going to start going to the gym. And now studying is normal, so you don't have to force yourself to do it. And then you can go to the gym and just adding the gym on, and the gym becomes really easy. So this skill basically just means now you're learning, right? You love learning, and you can apply things. You're building momentum. You're solving problems. You're not freaking out. You're building this environment. Now you're going to do things one at a time. When life becomes easiest, that's when we can add on the next piece of weight. When our shoulders are weightless, you can add on a bit more. So when you're not stressing out about passing a test because you're studying, albeit okay, that's when you can start going to the gym. When going to the gym feels good and you have a bit of a routine, whatever suits you, then maybe you can start reading that book. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because you might do good for a week, but you're likely to fall apart. If these are skills you want to learn over years and have, a lifetime built on a regimented routine, like what I've been doing, so you actually can catch up with people and surpass them, maybe not overnight, but faster than they can realize it, then these are the steps you need to take. Overall, though, the final takeaway is, between these 5 steps, there's a shift. You're changing. You're no longer this little boy, but you're a bigger boy. You're more of a man who actually can do these things, and that's within your identity. You're no longer the person who's so afraid of catching up. You're the person who's focused on learning quickly, adapting quickly, moving quickly, keeping promises, and protecting your environment like it's sacred. You're no longer this kid who's so worried about if he's going to make it through the day, and you're focused on whether your big business is going to do good, or your gym session is going to be as perfect as the last one, right? Or your bodybuilding career or your kickboxing career is going to be as good as the last one, right? Your problems change, and you're going to realize, wow, The problems I'm dealing with now make the last few problems negligible. But if it wasn't for those first problems, you wouldn't be where you are today. Overall, though, it's blessed to go through difficulties. It even says in the Bible, challenges build character and character builds hope. So build some hope and build it well with a good foundation. And I hope if you've learned anything from this video, you'd be willing to share it with a buddy who you see is in this bit of a predicament. I'm not some stranger on the internet. I'm Nolan. I'm some kid who's gone through probably the same things you're going through now or have gone through in the past, and I'm learning and taking what I've learned and sharing it with you. If you want a bit more accountability, feel free to check out my call service. It's like really simple. Compared to some other people, it's actually really cheap. And essentially what you're getting is you're getting an hour of my time to give you my everything. My accountability, I'll text you, I'll message you, I'll make sure you stay stuck on your goals. Whatever it is. If it's religious, awesome. If it's school, awesome. I'll be your study guide. If it's sports, awesome. I'll be your coach. Whatever it is, I want to make sure you follow through with what you want to do, because I would have paid any amount of money to have someone do that for me. My name is Nolan T. Painter. I love you, but God loves you more, and I'll see you tomorrow.